was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, a disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, but there's logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep 'em out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, choke until I have everything. I attack everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
welcome to my Mind on Your Matter. My name is Rick, and what a day! It's been raining all freaking day. It's just been acting. My body's been acting crazy. Just don't know what's going on. Knows the weather's changing, and I don't like it when it's this type of rain. It's like it's cold and it's muggy, and my body aches. My hips were hurting. And my hips don't lie. I tell you right now, the things are hurting today. I was like, man, if I'm hurting this much now, I can imagine when I get a little bit much older. I'm like, oh, it's not gonna be good times. I know that for sure. But we're gonna watch a couple of news segments here. Let me set it up real quick, and let's watch some news. I'm going to show about 5 segments of the news and probably call it a night after an hour. I'm not going to be here too long. I want to do like an hour, and that's about it. So come on in if you can. If you can't, you can watch me on a replay. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, let's get this started. So we're gonna start first with let's see. Let's start with the this crazy immigrant story. An immigrant was arrested for posing as a 16-year-old high school student. I kid you not. Here, let's take a look at the story, and we'll talk about it more.
What police there say that is all fiction, and that in reality, he's actually a 24-year-old Venezuelan migrant. Bill Melugin is following this wild story for us. Bill, what happened here?
Yeah, Aisha, really bizarre story out of the state of Ohio. That's where police have arrested a 24-year-old Venezuelan man who they say was pretending to be a 16-year-old unaccompanied minor. Also, he could attend a local high school, which he was doing successfully for almost a year and a half. Take a look.
What?
Police in Perrysburg, Ohio, arresting Anthony Emmanuel Labrador Sierra on Monday. He's now charged with felony forgery. DHS tells Fox he's a visa overstay who first came to the U.S. in 2019 and was a recipient of temporary protective status, aka TPS. He was arrested during a traffic stop in which he was the passenger of a car, and he's now facing charges for enrolling in the school fraudulently. According to the local school district, he was living with 2 adult legal guardians who contacted them after they discovered he was a 24-year-old man, not a teenager, reportedly after the mother of his child turned him in and revealed his true identity to them. The school district says when he enrolled, he had forged documents, including an Ohio driver's license, a social security number, and DHS TPS documents. He was even playing on the high school's JV soccer and swim teams. In a statement, the school district said the suspect's deception was complex and that multiple agencies were misled by his falsified records. Now, ICE does confirm to Fox News they have placed a detainer request on Labrador Sierra with local law enforcement. He's being held on $50,000 bond. His next court appearance is set for May 29th. Bizarre story, Aisha.
Incredible.
We'll send it back to you.
Bill Melugin live for us. Thanks, Bill.
All right, that was pretty crazy. That was a crazy story right there. A 16-year-old from Venezuela was pretending to be a 16-year-old kid, high school kid. I wonder what grade he was enrolled under. Because 16, you would think, what, junior? I mean, he doesn't look like a... They might have said it in the story, but either or, the guy's 24. He's not supposed to be in high school. He fraudulent all these paperwork, Social Security. How the hell did he get a Social Security? How the hell did he get a driver's license? How did he get an ID? How did he get all this stuff? You know what I mean? Our system is really fucked up. We need a check in our system because our system is not good at the moment. So let's go ahead and go to the next story here, which is it's about Harvard. Trump is blocking he's blocking the school from enrolling international students because of all the craziness that's been going on in Harvard and Columbia and so forth. So let's take a look at the story, and we'll talk a little bit more after.
Let's go ahead now and bring in DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, the architect and author of this policy. Madam Secretary, you say it is a privilege, not a right, for American schools to be able to host foreigners on their campus.
Yes, that's exactly right. And this program has been in place for a very long time. These policies have been in place for a long time, and Harvard brought these consequences upon themselves. They have promoted and allowed violent activity on campus. They have allowed anti-Semitism, participation with CCP and Chinese infiltration and influence on their campus, and they haven't protected their students. So we have given them multiple opportunities to share criminal activity with us, backgrounds on these students, to let us conduct the oversight into this program that is our responsibility, and they have refused to do so. So today I sent them a letter that said they will no longer be allowed to participate in this student exchange visitor program, and that's up to 27% of their enrolled students. So it's significant. Any foreign student that wishes to get an education in this country, that is attending Harvard and not participating in this criminal activity, they will have to find another university to go to, because Harvard has chosen instead to not protect their students and to allow this kind of violent and discriminatory action continue.
So as you mentioned, 18% of Harvard's freshman class this year are foreign. They're foreigners here on student visas. What happens? Where do they go now? What do they do?
Yeah, we have given Harvard multiple opportunities to give us the documentation that we've requested to conduct oversight. We've asked them for the backgrounds on students that attend their university, their criminal activity on campus, off of campus, any video or audio footage they have of this violent activity, and they have just simply not complied. This is something that they need to do in order to comply with this program as it was established. And so unfortunately, all of their foreign students will face the consequences of Harvard's lack of protecting the individuals that go there. So 27% of their students are foreign students, and they will have to find some other university to go to. And hopefully they find one that cares about them and provides a safe environment.
Does that mean that the student visas of this freshman class won't be revoked? It will just be revoked for them to attend Harvard specifically. Is that right? I want to make sure I'm understanding the particulars.
Yeah, the decision that's made today based on what Harvard has done is specifically applying to that university, not to the individual students. So the university will no longer be able to participate in this program. They will not be allowed to have foreign students because we have gone back to them multiple times, asked them to disclose this information, which other universities have and need to do in order to participate in the student and exchange visitor program. And Harvard simply has not done it. Harvard has a history of allowing not just protests, but violent protests where students were assaulted, they were discriminated against, they were verbally abused, and they've even facilitated a training for a paramilitary group affiliated with the CCP. So it's not just pro-Hamas activities that they have allowed to have happen on their campus. They've also allowed participation with Communist China, who considers the United States one of their greatest enemies. This is something we're not going to continue to allow to have happen. This is something I'm responsible for, is to provide this type of oversight. And we're going to ensure that every university protects every single one of their students on their campuses, whether they're from the United States or another country. They need to be safe. They don't deserve to have this kind of anti-Semitic or any other kind of discrimination that may face them based on their race going forward.
So Israel's consul general here in New York joined our air a short while ago. He really hammered home his case, which is that he says the Qataris are at fault here. They are the ones exporting anti-Israel thought and rot to colleges across the United States. How do you see that? What's your reaction to that?
I think it was very interesting to listen to the Israeli ambassador to the UN this morning as well, that was doing several interviews where he talked about, he felt like a lot of the anti-Semitism that we saw across the country in the last year or two started on these college campuses. And I really do believe that what these colleges have done by facilitating an environment that allows this kind of hatred to grow and to spread, and misinformation to continue to be proliferated among these students is wrong. And it's created a situation now where we have racism and violence and assaults happening. And this student program was intended for students who wanted to come here and learn in America, appreciated the wonderful opportunity that it provided. And it's morphed into this terrible situation where people are really victims of the system. So we're bringing the oversight that the last administration did not bring, and we're going to make sure that this student and exchange program provides an environment where students can learn and not be discriminated against.
But do you believe, Madam Secretary, that the Qataris in particular are behind a lot of the anti-Semitism you just described? Are they providing fuel that creates this fire?
You know, I'm not an expert in this area. I think that there's validity to what he has said, but I also think that we've got a lot of influences here, and we've got a lot of people that have facilitated this that have a different agenda. Some of these universities have even barred law enforcement officers from coming on campus and haven't even allowed there to be basic law and order on the areas that they're responsible for. So we're going to continue to do our investigations and make sure that what the Department of Homeland Security is responsible for, it will be done with integrity for the way that Congress laid out that programs should work, and the opportunities that we have to allow people to come into this country, learn, and to be a part of a country that promotes freedom and liberty and that everybody is equal. That's not what Harvard is doing, and that's not what we're seeing in some of these college campuses.
Could you foresee, or are you now considering similar moves with other universities like Columbia that has allowed Jewish students to be threatened and made unsafe?
Absolutely. We are absolutely, this should be a warning to every other university to get your act together. Get your act together, because we are coming to make sure that these programs, that you are facilitating an environment where students can learn, where they're safe, and that they're not discriminated against based on their race or their religion. Anti-Semitism will not be stood for, and any participation with a country or an entity or a terrorist group that hates America and perpetuates this kind of violence, we will stop it, and we will not allow that to happen, especially in places where our kids need to grow up and really learn what this country is about, what the world is about, and what it means to promote freedom and liberty.
There's a bit of a sort of cultural academic tradition, as you are well aware, like with these big liberal arts institutions in the United States, that law enforcement is kept off campus. They feel, administrators in these places like Harvard and Columbia feel like they want to manage poor behavior, even illegal activity on the part of students. Is that about to completely become a thing of the past? Are we watching that be eradicated in real time?
You know, we've been in communication with these leaders of these universities, telling them we expect them to keep their students safe. We expect them, they can use their campus police and their policies, but when they're not effective and they're not even upholding basic campus safety, we are going to intervene, and they're not going to be allowed to get privileges that we have put forward as far as these types of programs. So these students too feel victimized and have been harmed for a long time under the policies of some of these colleges. And so we will take enforcement actions, and they will no longer have federal support.
Harvard already responding to this news.
Yeah, all these people that's wearing all that stuff.
Some kind of battle royale through the courts. But for now, we wish you the best. Secretary Noem, thanks so much for joining us with this.
Tell them to bring it. I'm on the side of America, and they need to be too.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, she's a badass. She is a badass. But if you're wearing these I forgot how they call them. Yeah, I know, right? If you have any coverings on your face, and you know you're screaming out this like chants and protests, and I'm not gonna say what they say because I'm not gonna advertise that on here. But if you're gonna act a fool, well, you're gonna get foolish consequences coming back. You know, it's like people forget. You know, it's like They forget about humanity. They forget about everyone is all humans. There's I don't understand these protesters and they're pushing something that is like that's not on our hands. We're not really going to be getting involved in that. It's like Israel is handling that stuff. Yeah, we supply Israel with the ammunitions and everything, but it's up to Israel to, you know, handle that themselves. You gotta understand, like that area, like that Palestinian area, with Gaza and all those areas there. It's not that big. It doesn't look, it's not big on the map, but in reality, it is big. It's hard for a military to have to go in there and like clean everything out and move everyone out of there, like because that's what ultimately they want to do. They want to like move everyone downwards and push them away from Gaza, and then possibly build a border, like a big wall or something. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do something in that nature, and they're gonna have to. And I have a feeling Israel's gonna take over Gaza, and they're gonna have to rebuild it. Yes, and I'm pretty sure how Trump says they're gonna rebuild it, and they're gonna rebuild it really nice, but that's not even now, nowhere near, and this probably not in this decade. It's gonna be that between those people out there, man. They've been fighting since they found sticks and stones, and they're gonna continue fight, and that fight's gonna continue past us, past our children, grandchildren, the future people. They're still gonna be fighting no matter what. Even the future people they're not here. They're not here yet. Okay, we're talking about maybe like 2-3 generations ahead of us that are gonna be roaming this planet. Are the ones that are gonna have to figure this out. But like history, it keeps polluting the future. If we gotta, and they try to erase history before, and it worked to an extent because people snuck out the books and saved them from being burnt, and that's why we have some history from the past and so forth. But this is gonna be very unique. Like the future people, they got their hands full, and if they're passed along this hatred and division, it's just not going to work. It won't work. It's gonna be and you hope that they would like one day come together and just let bygones be bygones and develop now a new relationship to hold and to build for the future. But they don't even do that. They're not even talking about that. There's no togetherness. There's just divide and conquer. So many people, so much bloodshed every, it's like every year it's just more people die. And I feel like all this negative energy that they're trying to project, a lot of negative energy, I think it's gonna attract something to come this way. We're living in weird times, and it's only gonna get weirder. All right, let's see what else. We got 3 more videos here. Which one would I want to go for? That one's a good one. I'm gonna leave that one. I think the Biden one I'm gonna leave for last. I think I think this one would be a nice one to watch.
With a Fox News alert, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries speaking right now as House lawmakers are getting set to vote on President Trump's big, beautiful bill, possibly any minute now, although Jeffries could very much take his time during his speech.
We're going to get into that now with senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram live on Capitol Hill with more. Chad, how long could this go on conceivably?
Good morning. Well, we think that they're getting toward the end of the overall debate, and you alluded to something here. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, is on the floor right now. He started his speech about 4 or 5 minutes ago. They give members just 1 minute for most speeches on the House floor, but they give top congressional leaders what we call a magic minute. In other words, they don't gavel them down after a minute here. And so he might go on for a while. We don't know if this is going to be a 15-minute speech, a half-hour speech. I remember John Boehner. He was then the minority leader in the House of Representatives. This was on the cap and trade bill some years ago, back in 2009. It was called the Filibaner, not a filibuster, but a Filibaner.
This is like the Timo Obama.
Kevin McCarthy set the record for the longest House speech back in November of 2021. That was 8 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the Timo. Hold on. That's the Timo Obama. That's like the reject Obama. He was like the body double. He was like they try to build him like Obama 2.0. Even his mannerism, the way he moves his hands and gestures and all this stuff, it's a copycat of a poor version of an Obama. And this guy's garbage. He's garbage. These Democrats, man, they need to wake up. I don't know what Kool-Aid pill they took. Like they're hypnotized, and how are they gonna wake up and just realize, shit, we need to be working together, not against each other. That's always this is like the negative and positive. You know, the Republicans are pretty much in the positive side, and the Democrats are all negative. Look at their faces. Like, look at this one over here. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at this one. The one over here, you can even see his hands crossed, and he's just like, oh, Lord. You know, all these people, look at their body, read the energy in the room. This is very simple. This is a pitiful party. This is a party that just they're pretty much on life support. I feel like they're on life support. I feel like at any minute that this party's gonna implode. And he's already been I think he was mentioned in the Diddy trial. Hakeem Jeffries, I think he was part of the if I'm allegedly part of the freak offs. I don't know, and Obama too. So there's a lot of probably politicians that have been part of that Diddy freak off. So allegedly, and hopefully they could get those videos and they'll know who's who. This weirdo. He's just a weirdo. Okay, let's continue here.
So conceivably, he could really delay this, but we don't think he's going to go quite that long. They are getting toward the end of this debate, and I would think sometime after the top of the hour, maybe after 6 o'clock Eastern, they would get to this vote series. The vote that we care about on the big, beautiful bill would be the second one in the series. And we think that the magic number, if the overnight vote totals here are kind of our guide, might be 215 yay votes. There was a grand total of 429 members who cast ballots overnight on a test vote here. So 215 might be the magic number. They can only lose 3 votes on the Republican side if all House members vote. Thomas Massie, Republican of Kentucky, he was the only nay in that overnight vote series. And we know that he's the only firm no tonight. Now, again, so they've been debating this bill through the overnight hours. They want to get this done today. The goal by House Speaker Mike Johnson was to finish this by Memorial Day. And part of the issue was they knew that if they continued to talk about this and just, let members kind of weigh in, they would never quite get there. So what you do is you bring in the president at the last minute, which is what President Trump did earlier this week. He came to Capitol Hill to meet with House Republicans. There was a meeting at the White House with the Speaker of the
out in just a few hours here. How do you think Mike Johnson?
Less than that.
I already know it passed
into
the
the
House.
Biden White House's handling of Joe Biden.
But
Is
I'm
opening
just
an investigation.
want to show the people, like, I don't care what they're saying. So let me just pause it here. I just want you to see the energy. I'll go back. Even when they're clapping, does that look like happy claps? Does that look like happy claps? Look at this guy back here. Look, these two, you can't see them because they're cropped off, but you could tell the energy is not there. And then look at this, look at his face, and then look at where his hand is. Let me make it bigger so you guys could possibly see here. Give me 1 sec, and I'll do that right now. There we go. Okay. Let's break this down. Feel the energy in this picture. Like Timo Obama right here. This is Hakeem Jeffries, Timo 2.0 Obama, Timo version. Then I don't know these people really who they are because I really don't care about the Democrats. But this doesn't look like a happy setup for a clap. That doesn't look happy. This guy back here, he's like, I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't even look happy while he's clapping. Usually when you're clapping, you're like, yeah, yes, like you're smiling, you're clapping. You know, you're doing one of like these, you know, you're like you know, you're happy, you're like, yeah, you're poised, you're showing that energy. These guys over here, this is what you're getting. You're getting horrible energy. Like you even like I could go back a little bit and you can see here. Look at them. Look at this frown. Look, this is how is this happy? How is this? Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this one. Look at his lips. Unhappy. Look at this one. Unhappy. Oh, look at her back here. She decided to pop her head out. Girl, who dressed you up tonight? Did you get inspired by Lady Gaga or something? With your pointy, like, shoulder tackle. I don't know what you're wearing. Like, it looks like you could play football. It looks like you got shoulder pads on. And you don't look comfortable at all. You really don't look comfortable. Your body language screams out like, God, hurry the fuck up. I want to get out of here. That's what it screams. But I could go back and I want to see if I see them smiling. Like I'm trying to catch them to see if I could see if there's a moment of them smiling. I mean, I'm going back. Team Obama. I mean, to go back there, I'm trying to see if what she's doing. I don't know. She doesn't look happy back here. She's like, look at her face. And then look at her hands. She's like, this is fucking like, fuck, man. I gotta be here for how long? So much longer. She's working on her nails. She's cleaning her nails, or she's doing something with her nails. Because look, you see, she's doing something with her nails or something. She's checked out. I don't know what she's doing. You see how she looked down? Like right here. Look at her face. What is that? Look at her face. Can you see this? Like, yeah, you can see it perfectly. Yo, if that's not demonic, like, what the hell is this? That looks demonic. She looks holy moly. Yo, some of these people, I don't know, man. Look, they do not read the body language. Read all of their body line, like the body language of everybody. Even this one, you don't see his face, but you could see his hands, and you can see how he's protecting himself by crossing his hands and holding it like in front of him. That's like a protect, like it's kind of like a protection thing. Like it's like, and you see a lot of them are doing it. You see, she's doing it. He's probably doing it back here. He's doing it. Him not so much. I think he's holding his stomach or something. This one's definitely holding his hands, and this one too. You can see in the bottom, he has his hands like this. That's like guarding, protecting. Like they're this is not a good energy at all. Not good at all. I have not seen. I'm scrolling front and back to see if I catch a moment of them smiling. This one, she's still working on those nails. Girl, you need to go get those nails done. Come on now. She's probably like, fuck, man. I need to go get my nails done. Yep. That's not good energy at all. Like there's no area where I like, okay, they stand up for applause. Let me see if there's any smiles before they. Okay, let me hit play and see if I see any smiles. Okay, they all started clapping. That was like the cue to clap. So everybody cued clapping. And they do not even look happy at all. This one, Timo Obama is trying to like rally. He's like trying to do like a speech, rally speech, whatever, and that shit ain't working. Like he decides to get up. He looks to the side. Okay, if you go back, look at him. When he decides to want to stand up, he had to like check on the side, check them first to see if they're gonna get up and clap, and he's not gonna be the only one getting up to clap. So you can see him checking, like right there. You see, that's one. He's clapping and he's checking, and then he stands up. He's the first one to get up, but he's still looking to the side. And then the one back here starts getting up. The black guy here gets up, and then others start getting up. And then this one over here is like, fuck, man, I gotta fucking get up and clap. Like he's like a whole, like, how many seconds is he late? Like he's a few seconds late. Like, okay, from the time he starts getting up, there he goes. And now he's getting up. This one got up. This one's like, oh shit, I gotta fucking get up. Watch. He grabs his shit, he has to put it to the side, get up. He's like, oh man, now I gotta clap. You saw his face? Wait a minute. Wait, let me go back. Look, right here. You saw like when he was getting up? Oh man, hold on. Let me see if I can get it, the timing on it. Oh man, I missed it by like a millisecond. Okay, look at that face. Oh no, hold on. Damn, it clicked and I'm trying to freaking stop it. Okay, let me right here. Look at that face. Look at that. He does not even look happy. Look at his body. Like energy is just not there. Like he's forced to clap. You see? He's forced to clap. Timo Obama is just being Timo Obama. You don't even need to hear it. Now they're all sitting down because they're done with their clapping. This one, oh, he's guarding. He folded his arms. That's so bad to do. Oh man. Oh no. He crossed his arms again. He's checking his jacket. Oh no, he has his arms crossed. Oh, why would you do that? Yo, in the house, you should be holding a decorum, like an attention. This one, he's checked out, man. He's done. He's done. I don't know his name. If you know his name, let me know. But homie right there, he's checked out. Oh, they're talking about the Biden stuff. Hold on, let me put the volume up.
Appetite for truly getting to the bottom of what Joe Biden's health was while in office, this overarching question of who was running our country? Or is this going to be a situation that we always see in Congress where they're all into it the week that the news comes out, and then gradually over time, these investigations go away and Congress gets distracted by the next big shiny object in the room? Is there staying power here, Chad?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of appetite on the Republican side of the aisle. Democrats obviously want to get past that. Some of this really is about 2028 to also determine maybe what potential presidential candidates. Vice President Harris knew about that. Maybe Pete Buttigieg if he were to run. But the risk for the Republicans is if they focus too much on that, and that distracts maybe from success with the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, and Senator Johnson says he plans to request information from a couple dozen people who have had or should have had contact with Biden. He says we have to, who was running the government? So more to come on that front. Chad, we know that you're running on a sleep deficit here, but we appreciate your expertise as always this morning. Thank you so much.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Biden, I think that's going to have to lead off. I'm going to have to leave the Maha report for last. Let's go straight into the Biden's inner circle.
President Joe Biden's decline, putting a spotlight squarely on his inner circle. But when it comes to hearing from that inner circle, it has been radio silence. Mike Emanuel in D.C., where some folks are trying to change that. How they doing, Mike? Good morning.
Bill, good morning to you. There are many folks across the political spectrum who want answers from the Biden inner circle. But after being by his side throughout his years as vice president and then president, longtime advisors Anita Dunn, Mike Donilon, Bob Bauer, and Jeff Zients are silent, as now 3 books have come out detailing an ailing geriatric president with AIDS lying about his health and stamina, while they tried to win him another term in office, suggesting nothing was wrong.
Let's stop using nice words like gaslighting and cover up. They lied to us. And they lied to us about the fitness of the commander in chief while our active military were abroad. And I think now you're going to see some investigations.
To be clear, the criticism is not just coming from Republicans. Democrats are clearly irritated, too.
The presidency by Biden was a wreck. And it was a wreck in so many different ways. And now that it's come out that his competence really was under question for a long time, which we all knew. We all saw that. Yeah. We all saw that he couldn't really do the full functions of what we need for the leader of the free world during incredibly difficult circumstances.
Longtime Washington Post columnist Sally Quinn is blasting the former First Lady, accusing her of elder abuse. Quote, I blame Jill Biden for this. Jill Biden is his wife. And if Jill Biden had stood up and gone to him and said, Joe, you can't do it, he would not have run.
I talked about this on my show a year ago, like more than a year ago. You're probably a couple of like I think I was like whenever I was on, like I don't know when exactly, but it's there when I talk about this elder abuse that Joe Biden is doing to Joe Biden, and now they're talking about it. I was been talking about this way back then, way back then. And now it's like they're talking about it now.
Expectations, members of the Biden inner circle and his former cabinet secretaries will be called to testify on Capitol Hill about their interactions with him and observations of him. Bill?
If that happens, that could be something else. Mike, thanks. Mike Emanuel in Washington, D.C. Jackie?
All right, for much more on this, let's bring in Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Thanks for being here, Karl.
Good morning.
This is going to widen the circle of folks who need to answer questions, including some folks on the House. You had 4 Democrats who were the most frequent visitors, Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar, and Susan DelBene. But you worked in the West Wing. So how much more important are the people who saw the president every day? I mean, the Anita Dunns of the world, Ron Klains.
It's a relatively small place, a relatively small number of people working at it. I think 60 some odd people who come and go with the president. They had to know. They saw him up close and personal. They saw him every day, at least every day that he was there. And so, yes, if we're going to get to the bottom of this, I suspect we're going to have to call the senior aides to the president and say, what did you know about his mental difficulties, and when did you begin to sense it? I think Sally Quinn hit on a very important point, if I could return to that for a second. Dr. Jill Biden, as she likes to be called, played a prominent role in keeping her husband in the game. So did his sister, Valerie Biden Owen, who has been his political advisor for every race that he's ever been in, beginning with his race for the county council in his home in Delaware. And these people they knew in a very intimate, up-close fashion that he was in deep trouble, and they somehow thought that, having enjoyed the prerogatives of being the first lady or the sister of the president, that they wanted to keep those prerogatives, even though they had to know that he was not up to the job then and would not be up to the job if he were to somehow be reelected. And it was the height of arrogance, and what they were thinking about is, they certainly weren't thinking about his best interest. They were absolutely not thinking about the best interest of our country.
In Trump 1.0, you had calls by Democrats on the 25th Amendment almost, every week, if not every day. I have a friend and a colleague, Carl, who was actually asking some of these questions, despite some of the other absences. And it kind of went like this. Watch here.
Thank you, Kareem. What does the president do outside the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m.?
Well, you heard him speak to supporters yesterday outside of 4 p.m.
What do you say to anyone who is questioning whether the president would survive a full 4-year term?
If you look at what he's been able to do, he has been able to push forward and get done historic pieces of legislation.
I mean, hey, see right here. You made a point about hearings. Jake Sullivan, Ron Klain. Do you see that happening? Would they appear? Would that be public, or do they take the fifth?
Well, they'd have to. I'm not certain they could take the fifth in because I'm not suggesting anybody's arguing that they violated the law. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, who is Homeland Security, which oversees the Secret Service, that he might find the grounds to do this. But look. We don't need a hearing in some respects because we know that we were lied to for the better part of 4 years. Certainly, the last couple of years we were lied to, and there were people who were complicit in this. Alex Thompson, who's got one of the new books out about this, who's a journalist, makes the point that the media lost trust with the American people because of this, and the media, need to confront the fact that they knew these things or didn't ask these questions or played along.
Oh, Carl, thanks for coming on. More to come on this. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
Which way to go? The fucking bunny rabbit had to tell him which way to go. That's crazy. That's nuts, man. And the fact that freaking Roomba Biden made an appearance tonight. He was like, oh, man. We survived that. We survived Biden. We could survive anything, I think, at this time, in this moment. I think Kamala Harris would have been worse, man. It would have been horrible. Oh, Lord. Oh, just to think about it. Oh, man. We got so lucky. So lucky. All right, let's go ahead and this is the last one for the night, and then I'm gonna wrap up the show.
F. Kennedy Jr. made Make America Healthy Again Commission just released its highly anticipated report on the state of America's health, and it comes with a warning. that the rate of chronic disease is rapidly accelerating, especially to young America's children. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner here with my co-host Kayleigh McEnany. Also joining us today, Marie Harf, Fox News contributor, former State Department spokesperson under President Obama, and Kaylee McGee-White, Independent Women's Features Editor-in-Chief and Journalism Fellow for the Steamboat Institute. Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News Senior Medical Analyst, Professor of Medicine at NYU Langone Health, and host of Nation Under Lockdown on Fox Nation. So we'll lean on him big time for this news. Let's begin with senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy with more on the MAHA report. Peter.
Harris, it's 69 pages long, and it lays out the roadmap that RFK Jr. thinks federal agencies can use to reduce chronic childhood illnesses in this country. And the top of the list of problems is a poor diet. This report found that up to 70% of food that most children consume contains ultra-processed ingredients.
I think everybody wants to prioritize the ultra-processed food crisis and try to reduce our reliance on ultra-processed food and try to improve the quality of the food, improve the nutrient density of our food. Little children, as they grow up, require micronutrients in their food for brain growth.
Going through the other main bullet points of this report, chemical exposures are a concern, with the authors ordering a study on pesticides by next year, a lack of physical activity and chronic stress, basically kids playing less outside and more on their screens inside, and then over-medicalization, they say. The authors think kids in this country are being over-prescribed drugs they don't need.
A generational accomplishment of the Trump administration will be reversing the childhood chronic disease crisis. It is common sense that Americans aren't chronically sick at high rates because of an absence of drugs.
So it's the EPA, it's the Agriculture Department, it's HHS, all looking at this. There's going to be an event here in the 3 p.m. hour laying out the next 100 days of steps. Harris.
Peter, thank you very much. It's right on time, too, because we were told when you and I were together like 15 minutes ago it was coming. Appreciate you. Thank you. Kayleigh, I know you've got a copy of it. We're going to lean hard on Dr. Siegel, so let's go around the couch and each ask a question. You want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is an interesting report. Dr. Siegel, I love citations. I'm a weirdo. There's 522 citations in here. Haven't been able to read through them all. But what I find so fascinating are there's so many problems that I didn't really give much consideration to. The ultra-processed food is really interesting. I would also note the over-medication, I should say. This part, interesting to me. 1,400% is the increase of antidepressant prescriptions among young people in this country over about 2 decades. 250% increase in ADHD prescriptions between 2006 and 2016. And it makes you wonder the increase of depression among young people in this country and this massive increase in medication. Something seems grievously wrong.
And the data in this report is staggering and really important. And I'd only add one more statistic that was so sobering, that 3,000 teens considered suicide in 2023, right there in the report. It's all tied together, right? They focus on the obesity crisis, that there's 3 times as many kids that are obese now as were in the 1970s. But obesity leads to sedentary behavior, which leads to depression. Then you get over-medicated. Somebody puts you on an antidepressant. Then you're on a stimulant you may not need. The amount of stimulants are up 3 times also over the last decade and a half. All of it tied together. 75% of kids don't qualify for the military now, largely because of obesity. All of this in the report. You know what got me the most, Kayleigh? When I was in medical school and I was studying a 5-year-old, we came up with this term called a fatty streak. I said, what's that? It turns out that the heart arteries feeding the heart, that are the tiniest in the body, are already starting to fill with fat in a 5-year-old. The time to fight this crisis is now. They're 100% right.
All right. So I want to start with a question about food, because if you're going to tell people what's in their food, we've already been doing that. What I understand that the Secretary Kennedy wants to do is to tell you what those things actually do to the body. That's what's different. So when I read the nutritional value, I'm not looking for percentages anymore. Now I want some real information, like, well, what is that dye that's in there? And he's making us sensitive to that. How does that help the situation, though, when people are going to eat what they want to eat?
Well, we can't take away with people eating what they want to eat, but there's big lobbies in Congress that are lobbying for food that's on the store shelves. And one of the reasons they want it there is because it lasts longer. So it's more of a profit. And so they're already making a dent in this by fighting the food dyes. They're already moving in that direction.
And you like that in particular?
I like it a lot. And I like
Is it in everything, food dyes?
It's in everything. And 9 of these dyes are now being taken out, but they're really unhealthy. And you know, one of the ways that he gets stage weight in all of this, stage weight, is by comparing us to other countries. You know, you go to Europe and it's not in the food, or you go to Europe and you eat pasta and you don't gain weight. And so we have to at least be as sensitive to what's in our food as other industrialized countries are. And we're not. We're not. And the cost of all of this, by the way, other thing the report focused on that I like is the word sick care system, because it costs us a fortune to take care of people when they're sick because they're eating this crap.
Right. Kayla, you have a question?
Yeah, you know, I never would have considered myself crunchy until I found out that I was going to be a mom. And now, like most moms and soon to be moms, I'm very concerned about what I'm putting in my own body, what my child is going to one day consume. And I do think that information and choice is so important here, because obviously the European Union, which gains a lot of comparison in this issue, you know, they have very strict regulations. And I worry about replicating some of those and becoming a little bit nanny state-ish on this. Yet there are some things that they do right. Whereas, you know, on certain products where they allow food dyes, where they allow certain ingredients, they require those producers to actually notify customers on a warning label before they're consuming that product so that they're at least aware. Is that something that you think the U.S. could replicate?
Yes, I do. And I think the U.S. is moving in that direction. But more to the point Harris was making, we still need free choice to be in here. So another thing this report focuses on is the center is going to be the farmer again. If we can go back to the farmer and what they're growing and maybe incentivize, rather than regulate, how about incentivize them to grow healthier food? And if the food is grown healthier, can we get it to the table, food to table, rather than through some intermediary who makes it to the point where we can't even recognize where it came from?
Or afford it.
Or afford it.
And that would be great for our farmers, too, because they're at the heart of all of this. They're the superheroes, and they know a lot more if we'll just listen to them.
And not pay them not to grow, right? Like
exactly.
Well, and on that point, Dr. Siegel, what do you make of the report's findings on pesticides? I know that that's been a pushback from the farming lobby in particular.
Well, I like the combination. See, that's another thing I like about this report. What I'm emphasizing is how it's all together. It's not just what's in your food, it's what's in your environment. And I think you know, talking about pregnancy, for sure, pesticides and how that affects fetuses in the womb is a very disturbing question.
Marie?
I want to keep talking about this nutrition issue because, you know, I'm old enough to remember when Michelle Obama tried to do some of this. There was a lot of criticism of her trying to get kids to eat healthier. So I'm glad to see that being a focus of this, Dr. Siegel. My question for you is, it's hard for me not to read this in combination with this bill that passed through the House last night that cuts $300 billion from SNAP benefits, nutritional benefits that poor kids use to get food. Food aid for poor kids who can't afford it another way. How do we help get healthier food to kids if at the same time Congress is cutting the exact funding that helps poor kids get that food?
That's a really, really fair question, Marie. I think it has to go on at the state level where some laws about SNAP are passing and start to incentivize alternatives in the food rather than the same rubbery pizza in schools or the same unhealthy French fries. What are you going to replace it with? I wrote a piece about that in Stat. What are we going to replace it with? Because food's an addiction. What are you addicted to? If you're addicted to bad food, how can we get healthier food in there? In Arkansas, they're saying, let's put rotisserie chicken on SNAP. I like that, although they say there's plenty of fat in that. It's certainly healthier than something that looks like it came from the moon.
Right. Real quickly, baby formula, because we have a couple of moms in waiting, as I like to call you guys. Just, is there any ingredient in baby formula that has you worried at all? Because that has been a replacement for years and years, and some children have to have it. Some moms depend on it.
No, I think that baby formula has those exact forever chemicals in there that I'm worried about. Absolutely. It has to be, again, looked at from the beginning. How's it made?
Okay. All right. So we're looking at everything. And we'll move on. Thank you. I know you were in the hot seat there. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
Yep. Well, that's the end of it. Yeah, it's just gotta get it under control. It's the only way we're gonna fix this is we gotta start somewhere, and somewhere is with us. Self-control and watching what you eat and try to eat more healthier. Sometimes the money it doesn't let you, but you gotta eat more healthier. But with that said, I'm going to bed early. I'm tired. My pain is aching. I gotta take my medicine. I actually have it here. So talking about medication, I gotta take my medication because my pain in my neck is it's a lot tonight. I can feel it. It really hurts in my neck. So, and that's because the pressure is up and the barometric pressure and the rain, the humidity, the cold. It's not a good day for those who have arthritis like I do. It's like I have arthritis in my spine, so I can feel it, the pain in my spine and in my neck. It's just like it's all jacked up. But that said, thank you those who came by, and thank you to those who are part of the rewatch team. And thank you for rewatching and those, like to replay and watch again. That's great. It helps me out. I'm not part of the algorithm yet. I have no traction right now. So this is like starting over again. This is the fun part, starting over. It's like, it's okay to start over. People they dread this and they hate it. Not me, because I feel like I'm just recording and talking, and whoever comes through. It's not necessary because I'm just recording. I'm just like in my domain, and I'm spitting out and talking, and yeah, it's my little heaven. This is my heaven. It's very comfortable. My area is very, very comfortable. And that's why I try to make it comfortable for you guys visually. So that way it looks nice visually. And it's easy on the eyes. And a lot of energy, positive energy from the candles. There's a lot of candles lit. I don't have the towers lit tonight, but I do have others that are lit. And try to bring positive energy to those who watch. And I'm gonna wrap it up for today, and see if I get a bed early and go to sleep early, then I could probably do an early show tomorrow. And then we'll see who comes through on the early show. All right, I'm done. I'm done because I know my neck my neck's jacked up. My neck is like, you're done. It's not the night tonight. It's okay. Have a good night, everyone, and good morning and good afternoon, wherever you're at. And definitely catch everybody on the flip side. Tomorrow will be a better day. It always is. Every day is always a good day. Bye.